What's up, the Ice Cold Wolf? What's good? What's good? Y'all let people come in. What's up, y'all? What's up, P Dot? What's up, K and B? What's up, Brando, King Tabernacle, DB, Lisa, Nikki. What's up, Carrie? Jahan, what's up? Jason Whitlock with the baby mama thing. Oh, shoot. Sorry about that, y'all. That was weird. I'm trying to find Jason Whitlock, the actual. Let me find the actual segment.
It's just one of many options. It's priority. No racial.
All right. Somebody asked me about Jason Whitlock and his take on the baby mama thing. I'm gonna just say this. We can look into it, but first I want to start talking about this fast, and if you all want to start tomorrow, I'm gonna call it the water and word fast for 3 days. So I want to know if we all on board with the water and word fast. Talked about it on I think Friday. But if we're gonna do it, it will start tomorrow morning, and it would basically end. You would be able to eat again on Thursday morning, if that makes sense. So it'd be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. What's up, Brittany? What's up, Honeycut? Miss Roger, Mika. So if we do the water and word fast, it'll be 3 days. And obviously, you're drinking nothing but water, but you're replacing your food with the word. There's a scripture that says that man cannot live by bread alone. And we know that the first sin ever committed, I'm talking about Marcus Rogers. Well, hold on, let me just finish this. So if we do the water and word fast, I'm gonna put like a little post up this evening to, I guess, explain it. But basically, the water and word fast, if you think about it, the first sin that was ever committed was dietary, because Eve and Adam ate the fruit. And so we know how important it is when it comes to, our diet. We know how important that is. Even Yeshua's first temptation came by way of eating. If you think about it, the devil said, turn this stone into bread, much like the devil told Eve to eat the fruit. So, the first sin and the temptation of the Messiah both were dietary. So the temptation really comes, from the flesh. And so if we can master, our flesh, then it makes the journey that much more easy. I believe that the more we can conquer our flesh, the more we can unlock these gifts and abilities that God really has for us. So anyway, the water and word fast, and obviously we're going to be replacing the food with the word. Matthew 4:4, but he answered and said, it was written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. So again, if we really want to hear from God, then we got to start challenging ourselves on just a physical level. Conquering the flesh so that the spirit can lead. The flesh is willing, but the spirit is weak. And so our goal is to get the flesh and the spirit on the same page. Again, that's Matthew 4:4, and that is, but he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. And really, I'm going to put a post up on Instagram later, but really, we want to be able to hear from God, and also we want to be able to be the best that we can be. We don't want even food to be a hindrance. You see, now they're trying to put stuff in the food. They're already putting GMOs and chemicals in the food. Now they want to add the snake bite to the food. So it's going to be very important for us to be able to master, our bodies. But anyway, that's my take on the water and word fast. If you all have anything to add to it, and the next time we do it, I may do a live where we can do like some feedback and talk about what people experienced during those 3 days. And then the next time we do it, to be even better. We can add more input, maybe add some scriptures or whatever. I'm just basing this one off of the, man cannot live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. Right, JT. Praying and fasting will help us fight against demons. Exactly. Yeah, I can do a Bible study. I can do a Bible study during the fast. Maybe do it on, I don't know, maybe do one, once a night. I don't know. After each day, I don't know what I'm going to decide to do, but I do want us to discuss what we're, learning, what we're going through. Anyway, thank y'all for participating. And let's get started. And anybody they can participate too. It's for everybody. It's not just for us, it's for everybody. But Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock was talking about this dear mama, or this dear mama, baby mama, black girl magic, big mama culture is basically ruining what you would call black culture. If you think about it, our black culture is the only culture that's ran by women. No other culture on the planet is ran by women except black culture. And you see the difference between black culture and all the other cultures. Again, it's not a racial thing. This is just a cultural thing. And you see what happens when the women are leading the charge in the black community. Not just leading the charge, but all the propaganda is geared towards black women. So black women get the brunt of all the propaganda of being independent, being the backbone, being the rock, being the leader, being the mama, being the caretaker. Like black women get all the hats. Look at Mother's Day versus Father's Day. It's not even close. Black girl magic versus black boy joy. It's not even close. But anyway, let's see what Whitlock says about this whole baby mama thing real quick. I think this is the right one. I hope it is.
Group in America is more out of line with God's natural order than black. No racial group in America is more out of line with God's natural order than black people. 70% of our kids are born to unwed mothers. We don't view family as a necessity for success. It's just one of many options. It's prioritized well below allegiance to racial idolatry, the Democrat political party, and hip-hop culture. Those allegiances have made us hostile to a biblical worldview, indifferent toward marriage, and convinced there's little value in male leadership. Scripture is the kryptonite that weakens us rather than the cape we wrap ourselves in to unleash superpowers.
Now, this first 45 seconds is what got Jason Whitlock in trouble. He didn't have to go any further. This first 45 seconds got him in trouble. He said that black people are the most out of line with God's order. And if we compare every other culture, there's only one culture that's led by the women. That is black culture. Now, many people will say, are you saying that women can't lead? I'm not saying women can't lead. I'm saying, what's the sustainability of women leading? How is it sustainable for women to lead? Can women lead for a period of time? Yeah. Can women lead for centuries? I don't know. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, The greatest test of women leading is the black community. Black women are educated. Think about this, right? Think about this. Think about how much praise black women get, and think about the dysfunction in the community. If 70% of the households are ran by black women, then shouldn't it be a 70% success rate with the children? If black women are getting all this praise and 70% of the households are ran by black women, then shouldn't the black women's success rate trickle down to the community and the culture? Again, there's a reason why God meant for men to lead. And it's not because men are better than women or women are subservient to men. That's not why. It's just that the nature of a man and nature of a woman is different. We got different hardwiring. We're hardwired differently. So at the end of the day, we have strengths and weaknesses. We come together to balance each other out. This whole baby mama, independent, I can do it, like it's foolishness. The results of that culture is where we are today. You think that black folks, you know that black women, I saw a study, black women pray more than any other demographic on the planet. Black women attend church or religious service more than any other demographic on the planet. So how is it that black women are this successful, going to church, praying, doing all this stuff, but it's not a reflection of the community? Somewhere somebody's lying. Jason Whitlock said it best. Black culture is out of order with God, period. At least back in the day, you had the man leading the household. Folks still went to church. Folks were still praying in school. We still had some semblance of God around. There was still some kind of foundation. Now today, they removed prayer out of the school and then they signed the Civil Rights Act. That's not by happenstance. There's a reason why they wanted the prayer out of the school, because they didn't want the races coming together. Imagine an all-white classroom and the teacher is black and she prays for the children. Or imagine an all-black classroom, the teacher is white, she prays for the children. Or imagine an all-mixed school and the principal gets on the intercom and he prays in the morning. Like, these things destroy all these yokes and destroys the bondage. So there's a reason why they got rid of prayer. It's not just by, oh, let's get rid of prayer today. No. If a person today wants to bow down to Allah 5 times in school, they can do it. If a person wants to rub Buddha's stomach in the cafeteria, they can do it. If a person wants to be the Hare Krishnas and all this stuff, they can do it. But what you can't do in that school is pray to the Most High. So that lets you know this thing was intentional. It's by design. You can bring a trans in the school. You can bring a transformer in the school to strip, but you can't pray in school. And sorry to say, this came under the Democratic regime. This came under the Democratic regime. Lyndon B. Johnson and them. Martin Luther King and them. You ain't never heard Martin Luther King talk about salvation. You ain't never heard Martin Luther King talk about salvation. Talking about giving your life to God. Talking about being the word made flesh. You ain't never heard MLK talk about that kind of stuff. You ain't never heard MLK talk about the actual scripture, the actual word, the actual gospel. You ain't never heard him talk about people actually coming to God and changing their life. You ain't heard him talk like that. Everything he said was from a communistic agenda. How you a pastor and you not talking, how you a pastor and you focus on racism? They are Masons. You're right, 100%. They are Masons. How you a pastor and you focused on racism? If y'all really believed in racism, y'all would be holding intercessory prayer to pray the racism out of America. Y'all ain't doing that. Name me a black church having corporate prayer to get racism out of America. They don't even talk about it like that. They don't even bring racism to God. Don't even bring it to God. It's foolishness. You say Nick Jones? I don't know Nick Jones. Let me write it down. Nick Jones. He any kin to Mike Jones? I'm just joking. Carrie says Satan loves racism. Of course he does. Because when you focus on race, the Bible says walk by faith and not by sight. So when you focus on race, you're already going against what God told you to do. All this stuff they doing, it ain't really about, ain't no racism, ain't no police brutality, ain't none of this stuff. How do you know this? Because they telling you this climate change. Ain't no climate change. Think about it. If climate change is a lie, the whole Peter pandemic was a lie, what makes y'all think this other stuff is true? Come on, it's all a lie. It's the devil dealing with illusion. Dealing with Satan is like going into the fun house. You walk in front of that mirror, one mirror got you looking all fat and high, and then one got you looking short and stubby and low. One got you looking skinny. It's the fun house. It's a circus. Dealing with Satan is the circus. You go to the fair, you see Ferris wheels, you see the roller coasters, you got cotton candy, funnel cakes, corn dogs, fried Snickers. You got all this stuff. It's just a big distraction. And then you leave the fair. You done consumed all kind of cholesterol, poison, diabetes, just sugar. You done indulge in decadence. You got to detox when you dealing with when you go into the fair. Satan is the same way. Satan is the same way. You go on that roller coaster ride. You go to that amusement park, Six Flags. You go to the Great America. You go to these places. You had a time of your life, and then guess what? It's over. Now you in the car driving home, and it's all gone. Back to work on Monday. The devil will always give you what you want, but he will never let you enjoy it, ever. You will never enjoy it. I don't care if he give you riches, fame, or whatever. All them folks in Hollywood, rich and famous, and they miserable. That girl that was Miss USA, or Miss America, she's one of them. That black girl waited till Monday morning, went up to the 27th floor, and jumped out the building. She had everything going for her in life, and she jumped out the building. Anthony Bourdain, traveling around the world, which is what all these black women want to do. Black women want to travel. He got to have a passport. He got the black Anthony Bourdain done circled the world 40 times over and killed himself. I keep trying to tell you all, ain't no fulfillment in the world. There's no fulfillment in the world. And this is what black culture is. Black culture is the decadence of the world. And Jason Whitlock is 100% correct. Totally out of order with God. But let's continue.
Yeah. No racial group in America is more out of line with God's natural order than black people. 70% of our kids are born to unwed mothers. We don't view family as a necessity for success. It's just one of many options. It's prioritized well below allegiance to racial idolatry, the Democrat political party, and hip hop culture. Those allegiances have made us hostile to a biblical worldview, indifferent toward marriage, and convinced there's little value in male leadership. Scripture is the kryptonite that weakens us rather than the cape we wrap ourselves in to unleash superpowers. Yeah, baby mama culture explains the Tyree Nichols tragedy. Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Monday to you and yours. We made it through the weekend. We have an awesome show planned for you today. I'm not sure how long this show will go. I'm not sure how long I'll go with this fire starter. I do know that I plan to get to Royce White, Shamika Michelle, Steve Kim today. We may also get to Delano Squires, Virgil Walker, and Pastor Anthony Walker today, or this may be two separate shows, one with a more secular reaction to the controversy that I'm embroiled in as it relates to Tyree Nichols, and then a more biblical point of view or reaction to the controversy that I'm involved in right now. Perhaps with Steve Kim, we'll touch a little bit today on the football championship games played yesterday, but I can honestly say I can't predict. I know where I'm going to start, and I know where this is where I want this to go. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to get there. Buckle up. I'm going to explain my entire point of view. When we did the show on Friday, I hadn't seen, the country hadn't seen the video of what transpired with Tyree Nichols. Friday night, that was unveiled. I went on Tucker Carlson's show, had some things to say there, and then got wrapped up in this controversy about one of the three things that I said there. I've had time to think. I've had time to unpack this. I spent a lot of time this weekend writing down my thoughts. So let's get to it. I hope that you enjoy this. I do think it will be interesting and enlightening and will hopefully put what I said on Tucker Carlson in context and unpack a conversation we've been needing to have for a long time. So, sorry, I refuse to follow the script.
And let me say this. Everybody knows what Jason Whitlock's saying is true. What people do is they go against the actual phrase and not the context or intent of the phrase. So it's like a person saying that y'all are crazy. They'll take that and say, you shouldn't say that. But they won't pan the camera to show you the folks in the room actually going crazy. So what they're doing is they're attacking his statement without the camera panning on black culture. This is what they do. So what black folks have mastered is controlled blindness. You know, you see controlled blindness a lot in education. If you ever dealt with, at-risk youth or at-promise youth, you ever dealt with them, dealing with those type of children, teachers would come into the classroom and they would be at the board teaching, but they're really teaching to avoid looking at the class. Meaning they got their back to the class and they're just teaching away, but they don't want to turn around and see the children actually doing something wrong to even have to engage them. This is the same thing with black culture. Black culture is the master at being at the board, teaching, and then all kind of chaos and destruction is going on behind them. And they only turn around when somebody throws something at the teacher. I just saw a thing where the woman wrote an article about the boy on the bus, the young black kid beating a little girl up on the bus, and then she put the picture of the article, she made him white. I'm like, how disgusting is that? How disgusting is it for you all to make the children white in the article when you know they're not? And if that had been a white child, you would have made them a class member. It's disgusting. But again, it's called controlled blindness, where we're at the board teaching vigorously, but we're never turning around. And this always comes to light through teacher evaluations. You know, they sit there and they monitor the teachers during they doing their, teaching their work and lesson plans. When they come to observe the class, they can already tell whether you've been setting order in the class or not. When you go into the classroom, day one, you got to set the tone. You got to set order. And you always going to need a sacrificial lamb. I don't care whatever you do in life, you will always need a sacrificial lamb because folks, is somebody going to buck. They got to be one. There's always going to be somebody that's going to be a sacrifice so that the rest can flourish. But let's continue.
The script for black influencers demanded that the Tyree Nichols tragedy be laid at the feet of so-called white supremacy. 5 black cops beat a 150-pound black man to death, and the script called for more mass shaming of white people and insinuations that policing should be outlawed. Had I followed the script, I wouldn't be embroiled in controversy. Public enemy number one of Black Twitter, Sierra, and all the other blue check virtue signalers. In fact, had I dishonestly blamed systemic, institutionalized racism for Nichols' death, I would be the toast of Twitter, drowning in retweets, likes, and applause. I would be high as a kite on dopamine and swimming in interview requests. But that's not what I did when I appeared on Tucker Carlson's cable news show Friday night. I didn't lie. I didn't concoct some fantasy narrative where 5 black cops shouted, "This is MAGA country," before attacking Tyree Nichols. I blamed the 5 cops for their criminal behavior and predicted that a predominantly black jury will find them guilty of second-degree murder. I then criticized CNN and other media outlets for hyping the release of the body camera footage like it was Al Capone's secret vault and using the video to distract from America's escalating involvement in the Ukraine-Russia conflict.
Now, you all know my take on this whole Tyree Nichols thing. You know, I believe it was staged. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. You know, I'm very vocal about, you know, the devil being very clever and sinister. And the devil uses illusions. Basically, the devil's not going to ever do anything for real. He gets us to do it for real. He gets us to put the physical action behind it because we are in this physical realm to do so. The devil is not. So the devil just suggests, and then we take the suggestion and run with it. So this whole Tyree Nichols thing, I don't buy it for 1 second. It just looks staged. Perfect lighting, talking to the body. It's just taking pictures. It's all theatrics and a fiasco. It's not real. But that's my take on it. But what Jason Whitlock's take on it, if it was true, I agree with it.
And when surprisingly given an opportunity to provide an additional thought, I argued that the 5 police officers mimicked gang behavior and that the whole sad event is a byproduct of communities overrun with matriarchal values and controlled by single black mothers. I said that the conversation we should be having in reaction to Tyree Nichols centered on the cost of destroying the black family. That's what I wrote down. That's my paraphrase, having given it a bunch of thought. That's what I tried to convey in the final 60 seconds of an unscripted 4-minute TV segment. YouTube has now classified my remarks as inappropriate and offensive. I want you to judge for yourself. Let's watch my comments in full here. Everyone's behaving inappropriately, including these 5 Memphis police officers. It's an open and shut case. The camera from above captures the police doing something totally illegal. The second-degree murder charges are warranted. This is going to be a revisitation of the Walter Scott, the guy that got shot on camera by a cop in the back. He got convicted, went to prison. It's an open and shut case. This is too. I don't get what people are protesting about. These are 5 black officers. The victim is black. The police chief is black. The police have been fired and charged, and they will be convicted, I would assume, by a predominantly black jury in a city that's 65% black. So the system is going to work here. What the other system that's working is the corporate media's insistence on promoting racial division at the behest, in my view, of the military-industrial complex. They want us all looking at this and not looking at what they're doing in Ukraine as they drag America and the world into World War III. This is a distraction, in my opinion. CNN hyped this video like they were hyping the Super Bowl. and there's really only 60 seconds of relevant content. You show the police misconduct from overhead as they brutalize this man and make it clear this is an open and shut case and the guys are going to be convicted, and we move on. They treated this like a Super Bowl, enraging people, promoting the violence, and this is the most important story in the history of the planet. It's not. What's going on in Ukraine and our military involvement in Ukraine, that's the most important story going on in the world, but
Yes,
they don't
right.
want you focused on that.
That is such a good point. And you would, I mean, you've been in the news business all your life, 35 years or something. I felt guilty putting that video on the screen, not because I was on anyone's side. I felt obviously bad about it. It was horrible. But because you don't want to put ugly things on TV and inflame passions. You want people to be reasonable and think things through and reach wise decisions. Why would news organizations, I mean, they really want to make people enraged, clearly.
They don't want us focused on reality. Hey, if they want us to devote an hour of coverage to this and weekend coverage of this, and they want to take us to a good place, I would examine the racial element of this, because there is a racial element. And this is a story about young black men and their inability to treat each other in a humane way. Everybody involved in this on the street level was either 24 to 32 years old. Everybody. It was a group of young black men, 5-on-1. Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman.
So I guess y'all get the gist of what he's saying. At the end of the day, we're going to talk about it a little bit. But this is why it's so important for men to be men and men to be fathers. This is why it's important. And it's important because the man being the head of the household is in God's order. If things are not in God's order, the opposite of God's order is chaos. It will never work. It was never designed for a woman to be raising children by herself. That was never in God's design. So it's never going to work. Even back in the day, if the woman lost her husband at war, somebody would have to marry the woman. His brother, some man would take the responsibility of that woman on if she lost her husband. That's how important the male leadership was back in the day. At all costs, this woman needs to be under the guidance, protection, and leadership of a man. Nowadays, the media is fueling this woman independence, and they're using black women because black women make it look so good. Have you seen a single white mom? It don't look that. There was a movie out years ago called Single White Female. She was nuts. No other race of woman can make it look good. Black women make being single, independent baby mamas, they make it look good. You can make movies about it. You can write books about it. You can make products for it. Like, black women make it look good. So it's appealing to the masses of women to see it. And this is not just an American thing. This is a global thing. This is a global reach of Western, quote unquote, values to be spread across the world. For every woman to wake up one day and say, you know what? I should be independent. I'm tired of being oppressed by a man. And so at the end of the day, what Whitlock is saying is 100% correct. We've already gone through the police chief and her track record. Like, you look at any city ran by black people and the crime and homicide is astronomical. You look at any city ran by black women and the crime and homicide will escalate. It will go up. So am I condemning black women? Am I bashing black women? Am I doing? No. I'm saying that there is an agenda that is intentionally targeting black women. It is intentional, and black women are falling for it because a part of black woman culture, black girl magic, feeds with the agenda. They both mesh. So getting up at brunch and twerking, that all feeds into, I ain't gotta listen to a man. Think about what twerking at brunch really symbolizes. Think about but Maxine Waters does look good because Maxine Waters is 137 years old. So at 137 years old and still in politics, she still gets the yes queen mantra shouted when she walks down the street. Like Maxine Waters, she think about it. She's 137 years old. She wears wigs. She talk with an attitude. I'm reclaiming my time. That's what black women like. So she still is revered. She's still revered, you know. And again, this is not about women or race. This is about an agenda that is cultivating a culture. This is a culture among black women that you even see in other races of women now. It's starting to branch out. You know, I said once before, everybody gonna be a black woman in the end. Watch. But anyway, let's continue.
And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected or put some black woman in charge of the police force. And we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers. If we want to discuss the breakdown of family that leads to disrespect for authority, that causes you to resist the police and run from the police and not comply with the police because you resist authority at all time, because there was no male authority in your home, let's have that discussion. But that's not where they want to take us. They want to take us down the path of saying, you know what, this is Tucker Carlson's fault. This is some random this is Donald Trump's fault. It's not. It's the breakdown of family and the buying in to all these left-wing things that have nothing to do with promoting family.
My bad, y'all. My bad. My mic was muted. I asked someone, I said, tell me what is on the mainstream media that black people don't want to see. Like, tell me what's in the movie theaters, what's on the TV shows, tell me what's on the mainstream media that black people don't want to see and don't endorse. Everything that they're pushing out is what black folks want to see. It's what black folks want. We can't. So again, this notion that black people are so mindless and can't think for themselves to where we're still suffering from slavery. It's just all of it's just I know. I'm not gonna take any kind of worldly rhetoric when it comes to accountability. Everybody knows right from wrong. Everybody knows right from wrong. So at the end of the day, it's foolishness. There is a culture that black people indulge in that is detrimental. Period. Period. So at the end of the day, in all of these cases, you see a lack of accountability. I come on the screen and I say, listen, we got to be accountable for ourselves, or he's a sellout. You can pick any candidate and let them say they're Democrat. There is no standard. Black people vote almost 100% Democratic. That means that the Democratic Party is a part of black culture. That means that being a Democrat is a part of black culture. It's a cultural thing. Even if a black person doesn't vote, they're culturally still aligned with the Democratic Party. Which spells the end. All right, Pruden. But let's continue. I had some videos. I had a. Ooh, I got it. I got it. So let me start with Chad O.
People ask me,
Let me start with Chad O. Jackson.
all the time, why do black people vote overwhelmingly for Democrat? And it's true, you can rely upon around 90% of blacks to vote for the Democrat candidate, and it has been that way for a long time. Now, the long answer has something to do with none other than Martin Luther King. But before I go there, let me just say that it's very infuriating that black people are constantly voting against their own best interest. There's no such thing as a black issue. There's human issues. There's American issues. There's no such thing as a black issue. But because black people are intoxicated into believing that there is such a thing, we're actively voting against our own best interests. We vote to raise our own taxes. We vote to teach our children curriculum that's dumbing them down constantly. We vote to raise inflation. We vote to have our Second Amendment rights infringed upon. We vote to have our First Amendment rights infringed upon. We vote to have our rights usurped by the government, who we are empowering all the more. The only thing is, a lot of blacks don't realize that that's what they're doing because they're distracted by the notion that how they're voting is furthering the so-called black cause. The question for me becomes, well, what exactly is the black cause and who defines what that is? It's interesting to note that when you consider the people in this country with dark colored skin, in our diversity of background ranging from rural to city to urban to suburban to impoverished to middle class and everything in between, once upon a time, with that diversity of background came a diversity of opinions with regard to politics. However, the communists, wanting to collectivize the whole of black folks into
Can you all not hear Chad O? Can everybody hear? I see someone say that the sound is. Can anybody hear? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear what he's saying. You should be able to hear it. Okay. Okay.
one body politic into one monolithic vote, resolved to do so through community organizing, through the civil rights movement, through Martin Luther King, who was all too willing to play the part. It was quite easy for MLK to appeal to poor people with Marxist rhetoric because he was able to tell them that, look, we're going to go to Washington, D.C., and we're going to demand that they do something about your conditions.
We are going to be demanding when we go to Washington that something be done, and done immediately, about these conditions.
However, when it came to middle class blacks, he had a bit of a tougher time because they were actually doing quite well in this country. They didn't see what the big deal was all about. The way that MLK appealed to them was twofold: insult followed by flattery. He insulted them by saying, you're not doing enough for social justice. You're not doing enough for civil rights. So he indicted them for that. And then he followed it up with flattery, appealing to ego, saying things like, because you have means, because you have wealth, because you have connections, you can, in a sense, be a savior to these poor blacks in the South by supporting our cause. One of MLK's attorneys, Clarence Jones, tells of one such story when he was being recruited by Stanley Levison to work for King's staff. And so King invited Jones to a speaking engagement at a church in an affluent black neighborhood.
I answer the phone, the voice on the other end of the phone, Mr. Jones? Yes, my name is Dora McDonald.
So, Chad O is saying how they basically came in and manipulated the black community. And again, a white person won't be able to do it. Like there's nothing, like a white person can't just come to black people and say, do this and do that. there has to be some type of person that looks like the black person to introduce the white person or to do the white person's quote unquote agenda. It's not really about race, it's just about agendas that are done by these globalists. And so at the end of the day, they use King, who was a great speaker, to it's easy to get to poor blacks because most poor people are poor because they make poor decisions. They're not poor because of circumstances. They're poor because they make poor decisions. They have bad habits. If you look at a poor person's habits, they got poor habits. How do we know they have poor habits? Because if you go to poor communities, their communities are disheveled. Like, think about it. Poverty doesn't make you tear the property up. Like poverty, like being impoverished doesn't make you tear stuff up or let stuff run down. That's a cultural thing. So at the end of the day, appealing to the poor was easy because the poor is already looking for an excuse to why they are where they are. Then when it comes to the middle class blacks, he has to shame them into doing it. He got to do the mind game trickery with them. All the while, his whole purpose and goal to let the communists come over and take over. So at the end of the day, many people hate when you talk about this side of MLK because most folks are under the guise that these people that have been before us were actually working for us and they weren't. All these folks were on the payroll they want to take. They're part of the system. And I know it's so hard to believe because this stuff has been ingrained in us since birth. We've been told these folks are our heroes and ancestors since birth, and it's all a lie. It's not true. As soon as Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam, they killed him. That lets you know the Nation of Islam is in cahoots with the government. Soon as he left, he was gone. King left the NAACP, started his own thing, and eventually he was gone. Anytime these folks deviate from the script, they get their head knocked off. But Marcus Garvey died of old age. They let Marcus Garvey live. Isn't it ironic that Marcus Garvey is seen as the real revolutionary, but yet he was allowed to travel where he wanted to, do what he wanted to do, never got murked, none of that. It's a setup. It's a setup. Anybody telling the truth, they get rid of them. We see this in real time. On some of you all's platforms, you can't even tell the truth. They'll censor your videos from telling the truth. So my question is, if you're getting censored for telling the truth, how are these other folks allowed to speak? It doesn't make any sense. It don't make any sense. But let's continue. And Frederick Douglass didn't agree with Marcus Garvey. Frederick Douglass said our land was here. Frederick Douglass, that's what he said, it was here. Anybody telling black folks back then to leave America was working for the system. But let's continue.
Yes, Dr. King, he invites you to be his guest tomorrow. He's preaching in the Baptist church in Baldwin Hills. So I go to visit Dr. King in this Baptist church in Baldwin Hills. The pastor then was Reverend H.B. Charles. Baldwin Hills at that time, if you were a Negro of any degree of financial success, a doctor, a lawyer, a business person, you probably lived in Baldwin Hills. It was the equivalent of like white Beverly Hills, a Bel Air. So I go to this Baptist church. He's introduced by the resident minister. Dr. King gets up and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, the text of my sermon today is the role and responsibility of the Negro professional to aid our less fortunate brothers and sisters who are struggling for our freedom in the South." So I thought to myself immediately that this is one smart dude. that he was smart enough to come and choose this place where all these black bourgeoisie professionals were. Just could not have chosen a better audience to give his message.
In reality, it had nothing to do with Martin Luther King's being smart as much as it did with the calculated planning and scheduling laid forth by Martin Luther King's publicist, Stanley Levison, who himself was a communist and was merely following the Communist Comintern, which specifically says that it's important for the Negro revolutionary to deconstruct this notion of diversity amongst black people and to collectivize the Negro people into being a kind of agitation against the American system.
Tension was within the black community. Some of King's most stinging speeches were to the members of his own community, saying, you spend more money on liquor at your annual convention than you contribute to the NAACP.
His efforts had the exact result that the communists.
Keep in mind that King later condemned the NAACP. I read a letter by MLK to the NAACP, and he basically said that the NAACP had no interest in helping black people. So King later denounced NAACP and even left. Just to give you all some context to him telling someone to give money to the NAACP and then later saying that it was a fraud of an organization. But let's continue.
And globalists wanted in the name of incrementalism.
Never until recently have I really been concerned that I am a Negro. I thought all the while that I was an American.
I read that letter. There's this museum here, or it's called it's somewhere in Atlanta, but they have it in a glass case. And, you know, most folks don't read, so they just walk right past it. But it's in a room. I think it's called the African American History something in Atlanta. What is it, African? Is it the African American Museum, Apex Museum, maybe? No, that ain't it. National Center, maybe it's the National Center for Human, yes, National Center for Civil and Human Rights. So if you go to like upstairs, there's a section that has MLK like on magazines and all this kind of stuff. But there's one case when you first walk in, and it's a big case. It's a letter that he writes to the NAACP. If you actually read it, he's basically saying they frauds. Most folks ain't gonna read that letter. I read it. I was shocked. It actually blew my mind. That he wasn't down with NAACP. But anyway, let's continue. And I think maybe MLK got popped because he may have gone, off script a little bit, before, he was with the communist agenda, and then he started like, okay, what about the poor people? And then he started going against the war. But really his plan was a problem because if we talk about poverty being an issue, then it was more poor whites than blacks. So that means you would be unifying the poor of the country. They can't have that either. So he was doing too much, in the end. I'm gonna come back on IG because my time's about to run out. And I want to give a slight pause real quick. And I want to pull up some tweets from Tyree Nichols. One of the tweets says, there's a reason I don't talk to dark-skinned, BITCHs. This is the Tyree Nichols. He didn't like dark-skinned, melanated women. He didn't like him. I'm gonna put it back up, IG, because you all are coming back. But he says, witnessed a black girl fight. Haha, that's some crazy s. A black girl fight. This should be interesting. Why do they always fly during a fight? Stupid. I will have a. Don't call me stupid. I will have a pedophile blank you. So, I mean, these are, but again, if you go look up Kismegia Corbett's tweets, same thing, talking about she wanted to be with a white guy, she would never date. Like, it's the same thing, Again, all of this black power, black love rhetoric is not real. It's just not, because individuals have their own thoughts and their own minds. It's just not real. But let me see. Tyree Nichols also said, throwback to the happiest day of my life. Home with my oh no. Throwback to the happiest day of my life and how white my son was. Now, again, this is, so when the devil does something, it's never going to, like, all of these causes people are joining, you're never actually fighting the actual cause. You're fighting for foolishness. Norma McCorvey never had an abortion, but she's the whole Roe v. Wade case. She never had an abortion. Like, all of this stuff is fake, because again, the devil deals with illusions and then he has you act on it. Anything on that TV screen is not real. If it was real, you couldn't be held accountable for your actions. You understand what I'm telling you all? If it's real, then you can't be held accountable. That's why it's not real, because you got to be given a choice. There's going to be a judgment day, because you're going to be judged on what you did. You're not going to be judged on what you was forced to do. You judged on what you chose to do. So at the end of the day, all this stuff on TV is fake. It's just to get you to act on it emotionally. But anyway, Tyree Nichols said, there's a reason I don't talk to dark-skinned bees. And at the end of the day, he's entitled to his own opinion. I'm just saying it's funny how black women are taken to the streets for this man. In any other circumstance, they would hate him. Like, if I said what he said, first of all, I get accused of this and never have done it. Like, I get accused of this stuff and have never done it. So imagine if they knew he did this. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy. It's the same thing with Kamala Harris never saying she was black, but black folks making her black. It's crazy. But anyway, that was just a brief side note with Kyrie Nichols. But yeah, it is a double-edged sword. This funny thing about God's word is God's word cuts going in and it cuts going out. And so that means you get a twofold thing with God's word. And so think about Satan. When Satan is doing something, Satan has to counteract the word going in and the word going out. So the first thing is for you to fall to the illusion, and the second thing is for you to act on it, so you can negate everything that God has, But anyway, this whole dark skin thing is funny to me because I've never had any problem with my skin color. Like, the irony of all these people talking about they skin, and I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. You never heard you never heard a black woman in 1960 say, a man don't want me because I'm dark skinned. Show me in 1960 where a black woman said, I can't get a guy because I'm dark skinned. Show me. It's foolish. But again, all of this stuff is an illusion. So Tyree Nichols don't like dark-skinned women. Does that mean he's a bad person? Is he a bad person because he has a preference? No. He's a bad person if he condemns the opposite of his preference. That's what makes him a bad person. He's allowed to not like what he wants to like or like what he likes. But when he condemns what he doesn't like, that's a problem. You know, he yelling out mama like Boys the Man. But again, we all know it's a script set up, whatever. But let's continue.
That the communists and globalists wanted in the name of incrementalism.
Never, until recently, have I really been concerned that I am a Negro. I thought all the while that I was an American.
We began to see ourselves not as Americans, but as black or African American.
I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
With that identity came a kind of permanent victimhood status where we find ourselves perpetually rebelling against not only America.
The irony of black people being involved in a secret society where they had a paper bag test. This was black people discriminated against black people based on skin color. Now you would think, and this is where accountability comes into play. If I was done wrong by somebody, why would I then in turn do something wrong to somebody else? That doesn't fly anywhere in life. Nowhere in life does a person get justified behavior because it was done to them. Nowhere. But when it came to black people doing it, they said, oh, it's because of what white folks did. There's a reason why they take away accountability when it comes to the black community. There's a reason. Because the influence for the world is this group of people. And you can't have this group of people displaying accountability on a cultural level because then the world will do it. So imagine you done quote unquote escape racism. You done quote unquote got through all of it. And then you go to join a secret society and they tell you that you're too dark. Not white people. Imagine them holding up a paper bag to your face and saying you're too dark and they look just like you. Now, how insane that is? Cole said, I like them as dark, as close as the same color as a tire as possible. But here goes what's funny, right? If I get on TV and say, I love dark-skinned women, I get a standing ovation. If I get on TV and say, I love light-skinned women, I hate my mom and I hate myself. I thought we was all black. If I get on TV and say, I love a dark-skinned woman, I get a standing ovation. If I get on TV and say, I love light-skinned women, I hate my mom, I hate myself, and I got a color complex. I thought we was all black. How is it that when it comes to the police, we all the same? When it comes to racism, we all the same. But when I say I like light skin, that's where we draw the line. It is the most double-minded hypocrisy, foolishness that's ever been invented. People are allowed to like what they like. Most men want a good woman. Most men want a good woman. Most men ain't focused on skin color. That is some BS. We all black. No, we not. Clearly. If I can't say my preference, if I get on TV and say Lizzo is beautiful, I love her body, I may get a shoe deal. If I get on TV and say Lizzo is beautiful and her body is wonderful, I may get a shoe deal. It won't be like Nike or Adidas or nothing like that. Probably like, Rockports or something. But I might get a shoe deal. But if I get on TV and say I like athletic women, I get booed. I get shunned. Don't you understand that what they're creating is a culture where they're only going to allow you to do or want this type of thing? And I can guarantee what they want you to want is going to be dysfunctional. You know what I mean? Right, Plank. You said Under Armour might take me. They might because, woke Steph Curry's on there. Christine Simpson said, you're divorcing those statements from the historical context of light being better and black people believing it. Okay. Again. Tell me in life where I get the pass for somebody convincing me something that's wrong and I go and perpetuate it. Tell me today where I get a pass for someone telling me that something is wrong, I believe it, turn around and do it, and I get a pass for it. It doesn't fly anywhere. That's my point. This stuff doesn't fly anywhere. Common sense would tell you the slave, quote unquote, slave masters wasn't sleeping with all light-skinned women. Let y'all tell it, everybody was dark-skinned. So that means all the hunching that was going on was between white and very dark. First y'all told me the light-skinned slaves got treated better. Then y'all came back and said, no, we all got treated bad. Which one is it? Because all the pictures I see are the big black mama in the house breastfeeding the children. They'll never show you no light-skinned women in the house. Do nothing with them. It's always big mama in the house with her breast out with the white baby on the titty. That's all you see. Dark-skinned women are dysfunctional now. I don't know what that means. I don't think anybody's dysfunctional. I just think that people don't have success in life and they look for an excuse as to why. A lot of these women talk about, and I don't listen again, black women are the least picked on online dating. And it's not because they're black women. It's because when you go to the average profile, it's foolishness. The presentation is horrible. So at the end of the day, that's why they get picked the least. It's all groups of men selecting women based on age, demographic, all this. So all this stuff is, calculated. So the whole online dating is designed for you to have an audience. Everybody. There's a category for every type of person on online dating. So black women getting picked the least, and then next is Asian men. There's a reason. Asian men's problem is that the proper Asian men are never seen in a strong light. They're never seen as masculine. They're always shown as weak. It's not true, but that's what they're always portrayed. They're always portrayed as being very studious. They're never portrayed as, like back in the day, you had Bruce Lee in them. You went from Bruce Lee. Think about it. Go watch a Bruce Lee movie and then go watch Jackie Chan. Anyway, there's a reason. First slaves were white in color, but no one ever acknowledges that, right? Women by and large get offended and can never be truthful about the deficiencies of their women because of songs like I'm every woman. Exactly. I think black women are seen as masculine. That's why daters most men from them. Oh, my bad. Deters. I'm sorry. I think black women are seen as masculine. That's what deters most men from them. Yeah, but I would also say that black women are seen more masculine, and then when black women get in front of a large audience, like on TV and in music and songs, they display that. They like it's displayed. So all that attitude, all that head twitching and knocking and being, yeah. Don't know. No man wants an unfeminine woman. He don't. He don't want all that. He just don't want it. For what? All that. Nobody want to go through all that. So black women are portrayed a certain way, but they also feed into the portrayal. We seen the famous clip with Oprah. I had to fight all my life. I had to fight my like that kind of stuff. Black women held on to. My grandma didn't act like that at all. My grandma did not act like that at all. And I believe she was strong. She didn't act like that. I don't know where black women went from being feminine and having strength to being masculine and strong. Like, where did that come from? Come on. Yeah, you can use my content. My content is free to use. Cole says, character above all, she can be navy black and fine as the days is long, but if she ain't got no character, I don't want her. And again, that's most men. When most men meet a woman, he's already attracted to a woman. So the half of the battle is won. You're a woman. So when the average woman meets a man, half of the battle is won because she's a woman. So that means you got to win 50% of the battle, and it's going to start with your mouth. How you carry yourself. What you do. Back in the day, a woman would be walking and she would just drop her handkerchief. That let the man know she was interested. She ain't do no twerking, nothing crazy. You couldn't even see her body back then. She was all covered up. She just dropped the handkerchief. You had all these men scrambling and fighting just to pick the handkerchief up. What happened to them type of women? Now we got black girl magic. Don't no man want no masculine woman. A man, I'm sorry to say it, ladies, a man want a woman that needs him. Soon as you say, I don't need he gone. You better say, I need a man. You better sound like a slave. I needs a man. You better trust me. That's what men want. A man does not want a woman that don't need him. We ain't wired like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So if you want a man, you better say you need a man. You better tell God, I need a man. Somebody say, where the men at? Right, Shelley. I call that the Pavlov's dog theory for racism. Start salivating at the brain. Well, Anthem Fox, I agree that Anthem Fox says, Blanche, that came from women being hurt so many times from a man, that being a foolish man, because maybe they did not have any father figures in their lives. Here goes the problem, right? The problem is this is what most women do. Most women see the guy that they know they shouldn't date. They see him and they know, but the emotional chaos tells them you can change him or he'll change once he gets to know you. If you love him hard enough, he'll change. If you love him hard enough, he'll see you for who you are. If you do everything right, then he'll eventually come around. This is what women think. I'm telling you, ladies, that if he's foolish, he gonna always be foolish. The only way a man will not become foolish is if the man takes time away from the world, the women and everything, and then chooses to correct himself, then he comes back. So if you meet a guy and he ain't told you, yeah, I've been on a journey, I've been on a walk, I can almost guarantee he's foolish. There has to be a separation from a man, from the world, from women, to sober his mind, to be able to hear from God clearly, to get his purpose. So most women look at the guy, they know they shouldn't date, and they think they can change that guy based on what they do. That is called pride, that is called ego, that is called narcissism. Because you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about having a family. You're not thinking about your children. You're thinking about how I can get this man to acquiesce to me. That's foolishness. You should be saying, how can I measure up to what the righteous man wants? Just like the righteous man is going to say, how can I measure up to what the righteous woman wants, or the virtuous woman? At the end of the day, women are traumatizing themselves based on poor behavior. You want the guy to feed into the chaos. You want the excitement. You want the drama. I know somebody right now, this young man got some sense, but he's dating a woman who ain't got no sense. She look good, but he young. So see, right now, when you're 25, her being fine meets most of the criteria. But he gonna find out one day that it was the wrong choice. She foolish. She foolish. But let's continue.
Not only the West, but really all that is good, all that is decent, all that is wholesome.
The language so right that everybody here
Sorry, you all. Y'all can come back. My computer up. Oh my goodness. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying there aren't any bad guys out there, ladies. I'm saying they shouldn't have the time of day with you. That's what I'm saying. These guys shouldn't even have your phone number. They shouldn't even. And most women fall victim to entertaining these types of guys. They shouldn't even be entertained. So it's yeah. But let's continue.
That's not his cars.
So I saw something on here with Just Pearly Things, and she's coming in contact. She's on the show, and she's going up against Black Girl Magic, and this is not a racial difference. This is a cultural difference. So let me just. She's on a panel of women, and there's two what you consider white women, the rest black women, and they are talking about should you date multiple men. Now this is again, should you date multiple men? This is the thing. So again, I'm pointing to culture. Now most folks will say difference between the white women and black women, but it's not a difference in race. It's a difference in culture. And most people confuse culture with race. People don't just have an innate problem with quote unquote black people. Folks have a problem with black culture. It's not black people, it's black culture. Most of you all go through life with nobody having a problem with you because if you got some sense. The issue is black culture being on display. That's what people are repulsed by, as Chad O. Jackson says. This is, Angela says, start a dating thing, Blanche. Well, I'm going to do my, when I get my card, I'm going to do my Boaz, brides for Boaz. Let's continue.
Happened to you?
Is that you being funny? Or was that a genuine
No, I
question?
was just asking. I've just never heard of that. No, I was just asking. I've never heard of like he like picks you up in a car.
Okay.
That's not
Nah,
nice.
I mean you can answer the question. I wasn't referring to you.
I wasn't trying to be rude. I was just asking.
Women should date multiple men.
So as you can see, thank you, K and B Not of This World. So as you can see, in that first little clip, Just Pearly Things was laughing because the girl said you'll be dating a guy and it's not really his car, it's his mother's car. And she's laughing like, what? Like, because in her mind, that is inconceivable that a guy would be on a date with her with his mom's car. But this lets you know the dating, again, this is cultural differences in dating. I hear horror stories. I talk to all races of women. And when I talk to other races of women's complaints, it ain't the same as black women's complaints. Black women's complaints in dating world, the stories are absolute, utter foolishness. Taking their credit cards, messing with their cousin, wrecking their cars. I mean, the horror stories. I talk to other races of women, they say the guy, he might be kind of lame, he was a wimp, and we just weren't compatible. Like, it don't be no horror stories. It don't be no horror stories, I promise you. It be just normal stuff. Black women, you liable to hear anything. You liable to hear anything. Anyway, but let me get this off the screen real quick. But so Just Pearly Things is laughing like, that happened to you? And so the girl, her name's is Curvy Life or something, so I guess she thick. She gets offended by everybody laughing at what Pearl is saying, but she's not offended by her behavior. You're dating foolish men, period. If a guy is fronting with his mother's car, that lets me know that you probably looked at him because of the car. For him to go through that great of a length to get you in the, it's just too much. Anyway, let's just listen. Somebody said, so that means black men dropped the ball. Well, yeah, I mean, black men dropped the ball, kicked it out of bounds, got a tech, got put off the team. I mean, yeah, drop the ball is an understatement. Let's continue.
At a time to explore their options. What I thought. Women should date multiple men at a time to explore their options. What I thought. So I'm gonna start with Curls for Life first. Go ahead.
I think they should, respectfully though. Like, just because you date doesn't mean you have to sleep with people. You know what I mean? And men do it. Men will serial date as many women in.
This is the foundation of feminism. You heard what she said. Men do it. I asked women, do y'all actually know what men actually do? Most men don't even have the means to be a womanizer. Most men don't even have it. Most men don't have the stature. They don't have the will. They don't have the charisma. They don't have the means. Most men don't have what it takes to be a womanizer. That is a small selection of the population that's able to do that. Most men are not doing that. Most men ain't cheating. Most men aren't in a position in life to have that luxury, to be able to get women at their leisure. Most men got responsibilities. Most men are being held accountable. Most men are married. Most men are out there womanizing. They're not doing it. Again, when your frame of reference is a foolish man, this is the problem with these women, because they're looking at foolish men and saying, I should be able to do it too. They're not looking at righteous men and saying that. They're looking at foolish men. You don't see women talking about, let's follow Blanche's example. Let's stop sleeping with these dudes. You don't hear that. You hear the men get to sleep around, I should be able to sleep around. That's what you hear. You don't hear the other way. But let's continue.
They make sure women prove who is the best before they choose you. And not to say, like, again, because I think sometimes when men hear that, they automatically think that means you got to put out. Go out on dates, get to know men, and decide if that's somebody you even see that you want to be around. Because a lot of the, never mind, I'm not even gonna go there. But sometimes you can get caught up and you might put all your eggs in one basket, and then you find out a few weeks later that he's trash, that he's broke, that that's not his car, that, you know, a bunch of different other stuff. So just, you know.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. How do you get caught up with a man in a few weeks? I'll tell you how. Because you're sleeping with him. How do you get caught up with a man in a few weeks? I'll tell you, sleeping with him. He's impressed you with some foolishness. He didn't impress you with character, honor, valor, and all that stuff. That takes longer than 2 weeks. Everything gets sped up with sex. So what should have took 6 months took y'all 2 weeks. Now in 2 weeks you realize he's a bum degenerate. But he was a bum degenerate when you met him. The only problem is you looking at everything else around him. He might have had a 6-pack. He might have been tall. Nice car. He looked good in his clothes. Had a nice place. Good job, good career, made money. You lay down with him. Now you telling me you done got caught up. Now you got caught up. Now he tricked you. Ain't no man tricking no woman. Ain't no woman. Y'all got women's intuition. Women tell me all the time, there's women's intuition. We can hear from God. The woman is the man's wisdom. All this stuff y'all got, y'all getting tricked by Pookie and Ray Ray. How is it possible? How is it possible for Pookie and Ray Ray to trick the goddesses of the earth? How is it possible for Pookie and Ray Ray to trick the woman's intuition, the connection with God, the wisdom, the Mother Earth, the goddess, the diva, the black girl magic? How is it that Pookie and Ray Ray can do what no other man can do? I'll tell you. Because Pookie and Ray Ray is going to use that rod of correction. That's why. Pookie and Ray Ray, it ain't what he's saying, it's what he's doing. Once y'all allow Pookie and Ray Ray to get inside, it's over. But let's continue.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna go to Pearl next on that one. Women should date multiple men at times to explore their options.
That's not as cars. That happened to you?
Is that you being funny? Or was that a genuine
No,
question?
I was just asking. I've just never heard of that. No, I was just asking. I've never heard of like he like picks you up in a car.
Okay.
That's not
Nah,
nice.
I mean you can answer the question. I wasn't answering you.
I wasn't trying to be rude. I was just asking.
Bro. Hey, it's
No.
tonight. You can be rude as you want to be.
How are you offended because you dated a guy and it wasn't even his car? Do y'all understand, ladies, that when a guy is putting these tricks on you, he don't respect you? Using somebody else's car, that's not even a... This is why I say keep your legs closed, because y'all ain't built for it. Y'all ain't built for it. Her thing is called Curvy for Life, Curves for Life. She running around here showing her body everywhere, and she met all that body she got, and she ended up with a dude with no car. All that body she got, all that attitude she got, all that I'm stunting she got, all them purses, all them trips, all the stuff she doing, and she end up with a dude with no car. This stuff don't work, ladies. The only thing that works is being a good woman. The only thing that works is being a good woman. I just had somebody tell me that I don't like women. Think about this. I don't like women. I said, based on what? And they couldn't give me an answer. I don't like women based on what? Am I running around saying women are the worst things ever created? Am I running around and saying women are ruining the world? Or am I running around saying, keep your legs closed? Use some discernment. Stop giving these bums access to your womb and to your soul. Is that what I'm saying? Or am I saying women are trash? Which one am I saying? At the end of the day, this young lady, all this body, everything she put stock in is something that's of the world. This is why women keep getting tricked. Because what you're putting stock in, any degenerate man, any foolish man can manipulate and get it. Because it's worldly. But if you're a righteous woman, he can't finesse his way into that. If you're a virtuous woman, he can't finesse his way into that. Because you won't give him access. Let's continue.
Oh my gosh. So wait, what was the question? No, I just like men look for loyalty. So if you're like dating a bunch of guys at the same time, like I think guys kind of want to be like they kind of like it when your attention is focused on them. So I don't know. I don't think it's that good to like date multiple people at the same time, but like if a guy's not giving you attention to the point that it's like plan A attention, I think you should probably just find a different guy to date.
Okay. All right, Devon.
Now, why does it take young, just pearly things to give a common sense answer? If a man wants the woman to be into him, why would he put any energy and effort to a woman dating multiple men. It doesn't make any sense. It don't make any practical sense. All these black women on the panel look at her like she crazy because all these black women agree with have a roster of men to date, and then you pick the one to act the best. If you got 5 men you're dating, what does acting the best mean? Well, spending the most money is going to be one of them. We already know that acting the best is spending the most money. She's giving you the most attention. So we see that when you have a roster of men, ladies, what you're doing is you're going to pick the guy that feeds your ego the best. At the end of the day, Pearlie, she the youngest one on this panel probably. And she's saying guys want a woman to be into them. She said, if the guy you're with isn't working, then get another guy. Adding another guy to the roster is foolish. These women are saying, if the guy ain't acting right, add another man until he acts right. Then add another. It's absolute foolishness. Back in the day, the woman would drop her handkerchief on the ground. How do we go from dropping handkerchiefs to saying, I want a roster of men? How do we go from, it's a treat for me to walk you home? Go to the 50s and listen to the songs. Go to the 1950s and 60s and listen to the songs. Songs like, I want to walk you home. You look so good to me. Like sitting in the park. Think about the songs. This is what it was back then. It was courtship. We ain't even got to nothing. We sitting in the park. How we get from those days to these women saying we want a roster of men. It was a treat to walk you home. Now you got 5 guys trying to get your attention. That is utter foolishness. But let's continue.
Thoughts about it. Women should date multiple men at a time to explore their options.
Hell yeah. You got to. You got to talk to more than one person, because if you don't, okay, especially, well, I guess it depends what age too. So if you're like younger, of course we're going to talk to multiple people. Like, you just have to. Like, we're in an age where people like serial date, okay?
Dear black women, this is why you don't get picked in online dating. This is why you are having trouble in the dating market. It has nothing to do with your appearance. It has nothing to do with your race. It has everything to do with a culture that you choose to indulge in. Young lady asked me right now, what if one of them is not ready to be in a relationship? The problem with the statement is, what if he is not ready to be in a relationship? Then you stop dating him and you move on. There should never be one of them with anything. Women, I'm telling you now, if you deal with multiple men, you lose your value to a man. If you deal with multiple men, you lose your value to a guy. No guy that's worth his weight in gold is going to look at a woman with multiple men and say she's valuable. I'm sorry. All the body count matters. The men you in public with matters. The men you date matters. The men you sleep with matters. All that matters to the guy that's building something for a woman to have a future with. He's not going to invest in you. So at the end of the day, there should never be one of them, there should be the guy you're dating. If the guy doesn't meet your standards, then you move on. You don't add someone to an already bad situation, because what you're doing is you already have a guy not meeting the standard. You keep him and then get another guy. I don't trust your guy picking process in the first place, because the first guy you got wasn't no good. So the second guy you got ain't gonna be no good either, and the third and the fourth and the fifth. So what I suggest is you go home, you sit down and you be still and you hear from God. And ask yourself, what type of man do I really want? Okay, what type of life do I really want? Does the man I want match the life I want? It's a good question. Now, if y'all want chaos and confusion, then go ahead and get Pookie and Ray Ray in there. But if you don't, sit down and be still and know that God is real. Because most guys out there, like Chad O put in there, they want that thing. They want that thing. So ladies, if these men want to sleep with you, it's my suggestion that you don't do it. Because if your womb is valuable, which it is, because life passes through your womb, if your womb is valuable and your body is valuable, then my suggestion is you don't just give it to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. No pun intended. Let's continue.
We are. Like, have some fun. You know, maybe you can have somebody that you're, laying down with, and another one to like take you out, and then another one to do this and have fun. Like different, like even our friends, we have friends that are like that. You can only go to the club with this person, or this and that. Like it's the same thing.
Okay, Coach K, what are your thoughts?
I don't think, what are the definitions? You know what I mean? I think if you're talking and then you find interest in someone that you want to court or date or whatever, I think you should do it one at a time, because our brains aren't supposed to multitask, because it's like you're giving a little bit of attention to all these different guys, and then in essence, they're not getting your full attention, and then it's not going to work. You're kind of like setting yourself up for failure, I think. I think you should do it one at a time, get clear, get focused. And then if it doesn't work, then right out the gate, versus prolonging it when you would have known this from the start if you had focused on him and him only.
Again, it's not that the white women are making sense. It is they don't indulge in that culture. So their thought process is not of that culture. The black women on the panel indulge in the culture. So their thought process is you have a guy, each guy to cater to what you want. Now, Carmen, I think Coach K and Pearl are like, no, one guy at a time. Because you got to think about, these are real women, because a real woman is going to want to give her all to the man. She's not going to want to give her all to multiple men, because it's impossible. She shouldn't even be wired that way. So for a woman to even say she can deal with multiple guys, she's already disqualifying herself from being a wife. Even if we go to prostitution with a pimp, the prostitute will give her body to all of these men, but she will not give the men her heart. The heart belongs to the pimp. And I know it's sick and as crazy as it sounds, her heart, what she really cares about is the actual pimp. Just actual prostitution and what she's doing is just a manifestation of how much she cares about the pimp. I'm saying that is a very toxic example, but what I'm saying is that women are usually wired to give their all to a man. And so as a woman, it's impossible to give your all to multiple men. And then if you're not giving your all to the guy, it's not going to work. because a sensible guy can see right through it. She only calls me twice a week. Like, he's not dumb. Like, come on. But again, this ain't about race, it's about culture. And so far, the white women are 2-0. The black women are lost to the white women up 2-0. And again, I can tell that these women deal with foolish men. For them to even say, for her to even say, you got friends you can go to the club with, so that means you go to the club with the foolish friend. You don't go to the club with the sensible friend, you go to the club with the foolish friend. Again, a lot of this stuff stems in bad behavior. Women justifying bad behavior. This is a problem. You justifying the turning up, girl, all that's bad behavior. When the camera go on you, you shooting the bird up. That's bad behavior. All this stuff is bad behavior. Using profanity, all that stuff is bad behavior. We just saw the relationship guru lady when she had the little girl on her page cursing. It's bad behavior. Let's continue.
So that's what I got.
All right, B. Taylor, what are your thoughts? Women should date multiple men at a time to explore their options.
So I've been in both situations. When I started dating, I would date one at a time, and I realized that didn't work for me personally because I get attached and I wear my heart on my sleeve. So I would get very upset if the guy didn't take me serious, or I found out he was talking to somebody else and I wasn't. I would feel some type of way. So to protect myself, to tell other women that are like me, I say it's okay to date other men. Now you're gonna have
So, and this is why most times you should really only get dating advice from happily married women, ladies, because what women do is they just make up stuff based on what happened in their life. So let me guess, you dated a bunch of foolish men, and you got mad when that foolish man was foolish with you. That's what she's saying. She's saying, I dated multiple guys and they all did the same thing to me. That means you dated multiple foolish men. And so now, to protect yourself, because you make poor decisions, you're going to date a bunch of foolish men. As if that's better. Think about what she said. Her solution to the problem isn't to do a self-reevaluation. Her solution isn't to take time away from the game, see what's going on, evaluate what she wants. Her solution is to date more foolish men. So let me get this straight, because you know you're not being a virgin with these guys. You sleeping with some of them. So you sleeping with them. Now you just added more men in the rotation. So now you're telling yourself, I won't get hurt, but all the while you getting used up though. Tell me, ladies and men, what self-respecting man would listen to these women and want to be with them? They're on national social media telling a bunch of eligible men they want to date multiple men. This is insanity to me. And it ain't race. It's culture. I would have to agree with you, Cole. I'd have to agree. The difference is mindset / known value. The easy girls want quick and easy, whereas the virtuous will wait before settling. 100% correct. Why would you get tutoring for someone who failed the test? Make it make sense. Right. But because, and this is what I see, most black women get dating advice from unsuccessful black women because the unsuccessful black woman features the chaos as normality. Like she said, the first girl said you end up dating a guy and he got a that's not even his car. Other girl said you got a guy you laying with, a guy that's paying for this, and then she's saying, you know, you just date multiple. Like, so again, when these women are talking, they feed into the chaos. Everybody listen because it's like, oh, so this chaos is normal. No, it's not normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. You need to go sit down somewhere. They wouldn't like me on the panel because I would just tell them straight up, you got a losing formula and it's not going to work. You're not going to get married. So Kevin Samuels will say, you know, get a dog, die alone, but that's pretty much what it's going to be. No real man is going to take you serious. And the flip side to all of this is the type of guy that they need, they're not even going to want him because he's not going to be foolish. He ain't going to be the loudest one in the room. He ain't going to be pulling up. He ain't going to be stunned. He ain't going to be in the section with the hookah. He probably ain't going to be in the club. He probably ain't going to be in the lounge. He going to be doing something constructive, something involving his purpose. He going to be very focused. That type of guy ain't got time for no foolishness. Let's continue.
A roster. I think it's safe to have a roster. You always have your favorite,
What?
you know, and that's the one that you give the most attention
Bro,
to
what are
and
you
take
talking about,
serious.
man?
While the other ones, you kind of got them on standby, kind of texting them from time to time, especially when you're like by yourself and he tripping a little bit or something. You texting your other roster of men, you know, to kind of keep you distracted. And you know, let the best man win, because when your favorite team player is not playing right, you kick him to the curb and upgrade somebody else.
One of the comments on the screen says, the guy, you can't really see it, hold on. The guy says, imagine marrying a woman that had a roster at any point in her life. Could you imagine your wife telling you, yeah, I used to have a roster? Like, your heart as a man, your heart would sink to the floor. You used to have a roster. Your mind, a guy's mind's thinking the worst. When a guy hears roster, he thinking the whole football team. He thinking the whole basketball team. He thinking she get ran through. He think, like, a man's mind's going to the worst. A man's mind is going to the worst when it comes to this. He's going to the worst, you know. It's going to the worst. But anyway, yeah, this is about to expire on IG. And then I'm about to just be on YouTube. But right, a roster of men. And she say you got one that's the main one, and you got the rest. Now, she gonna try to make you believe that she ain't sleeping with these guys. It's crazy. I might have to agree, a honeycut, because that's what it sounds like. Right, Plank. He said men got a little black book, women got an NFL team. That's what guys think. Like a guy saying he got chicks, he talking about like one in a possible, maybe a third every now and then. When a woman say it, a guy is thinking she literally got a whole squad of men. That's just crazy. But again, men and women think different. Let's continue.
What? I like you, girl. I like you. You too.
If men look for loyalty, why would he take you serious if you have a
If
whole
he's
roster
looking for
of
loyalty,
people?
then he would commit to me. But I'm not
Not right.
committing to anybody
Well, it's
that
kind
I'm
of like you
dating.
have to show him what he's gonna get.
But what's
So it's like
in a
if he's
roster,
getting
though?
this already, if he's already getting that like disloyalty before he's even in a relationship.
Disloyalty?
with
I don't
you.
owe no loyalty to no man I'm dating.
You're right. You don't.
This girl just said, I don't own any loyalty This man just said, this man, right? This woman just said, I don't owe any loyalty to the man I'm dating. Could you imagine how many guys that actually looked at her and liked her and are not? Do you know how many men heard her speaking and said no? Right, Mystic Philly, they are. Right. This woman said, I don't owe a man I'm dating loyalty. Let's continue.
Owe it. It's not
Right.
like
And
he's
he
not
don't
in,
he don't owe
he's
me
not
loyalty.
he's not entitled to it, but I think he's more likely to give it to you if you're if
No,
you're loyal
I'm
to
telling you,
it.
I've been in both situations, and that sounds nice. I wish that was the case, but I've been in both situations, and I got played every time, and it hurt my feelings dearly. Because, and then when I told him that's not fair, you're talking to, he's like, we're not together. He'll hit me with that, we're not together. So until a man commits to me and show me that he wants to take me serious and showing me consistency, the dating world is piss poor. The dating world is piss poor out there, and it's a lot out there. So you're gonna run across really messed up people that's, you know, have bad agendas. You know, they're trying to use you, they're trying to play games with you, they may have you on their roster. You don't know what you're getting until that man takes you serious and start being consistent. Then you slowly start kind of taking him serious until that man say, hey, I want to take things to the next level. You're not just somebody I'm dating anymore. I exclusively want to court you. Then that's when you, as a woman, then that's when you say, okay, I'm going to exclusively date him and take him serious until he tells me he's committed to me. It's a lot of women out here committed to men who's not committed to them. And I don't know what your situation is and how your dating world is, but I'm telling you, I've been on both sides.
Now, the sad thing about what she's saying is what she's saying, if you polled what she's saying among black women, I guarantee it would be over 80% agree with her. If you polled what she's saying to millions of black women, over 80% would agree with her. When you talk to most of these women, again, what they do is their appetite is for Pookie and Ray Ray, because what they indulge in is the black girl magic culture, the baby mama culture. So that's what they indulge in. All that yes and all that and twerk, that's what they indulge in. So their appetite is not for a sensible man. It's not for a wise man or prudent man. Their appetite is for a Pookie and Ray Ray. But the problem is their appetite for Pookie and Ray Ray, but they still want him to be traditional and have traditional advice. So they want Pookie and Ray Ray to be a gentleman. They want Future and Chris Brown to get up in the morning and read scriptures. Like this is what they want. This is what they want. And so she just laid out how chaotic it is for the majority of black women out here in the dating world. Because again, sitting back, being still, God, what do you want me to do? What's my purpose? What should I be? Okay, then, okay, these are my non-negotiables. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait till marriage. I'm gonna do this. All that stuff got to be done before a woman leave the house. What these women do is they figure their stuff out as they're sustaining damage. A lot of these women got Purple Hearts from the streets. They got war wounds. They got stab wounds and cigarette burns and you know and gun bullet holes and all kind of stuff. A lot of these women go out there, they get maimed and mangled, and then they want to come at the end of all of that, they want a good guy. It's not how that works. That'll never work. It will never work. But she just articulated the chaotic nature of this dating scene out here. And I'm not saying it's all women, but it's a great deal. Because when I talk to them, I hear these stories. And again, she devoted herself to Pookie and Ray Ray and them, and then got upset. And then now she's on a war path. And she's going to wake up one day, She's gonna be 40 years old, and it's gonna be over. Now, she might be 40 years old. She can still get a guy, but more than likely, she hasn't done the work to improve herself. So it's not gonna happen. But let's continue.
But don't you kind of see how serious he's
hold
on.
until you give her a ring. That's what I'm getting.
Huh?
You're gonna be a hoe until you get a ring.
First of all, who said I'm sleeping with anybody? How am I being a hoe? What is the definition of a hoe? Please tell me.
So how do you expect a man to take you serious when you're also vetting multiple men?
So that makes me a hoe because my legs are closed.
It don't matter. I look how men look at it. It doesn't matter if you're smashing or not.
Hold on, Logic. You're not going for that, are you?
No, wait, hold up.
No, the last thing that she said, you're not going for that, are you?
I ain't going for it. I'm with it.
I just wanted to make sure that we was all on the same page.
I'm gonna tag you in there. Hold up. I'm gonna just get this out. Cause see, B Taylor.
This girl said, "My legs are closed." You know good and well you're not dating no multiple men, and your leg is. That's not how it works. Most men gonna require you to do something. He gonna require you to give up something before so at the end, so the notion that she can have all these guys on a string and not sleep with them is pure insanity and it's pure malarkey, and it just ain't true. She's sleeping with, judging by her talking, she's sleeping with at least 2 guys. Judging by the way she talks, she's sleeping with at least 2 guys. At least. At least 2. And every now and then, she'll add a third. The one that's curved for life, same thing. Sleeping with multiple men. The one up there said you got one to later with one, she the same thing. The one at the top next to Anton, in between the girl that's talking next to her, that one, she all out. She ain't even hiding it. She really what they say for the streets. But let's continue.
If I'm with a chick that I might be interested in, and I know that she's dealing with multiple men at the same
How
time.
would you know? Why would I let you know?
And that's even worse. That's even worse, B Teller.
Why?
Go ahead, Anton. You got it.
Hold on, Anton. I want to get back to Miss Pearl.
I was gonna go to her. That's what I was about to do.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, guys can kind of tell by how attached you get. I mean, that's what I've heard from guys. Is like they can kind of tell like how attached you get. And even if he is dating other girls, like how many girls is he really dating? Like you can kind of tell how serious a guy takes you by how much time he gives you.
Right.
So I've talked to a lot of guys that are I'll talk to guys like that have like had rotations or wherever, and I'm like, on average, how many are there really? And they're like 2, 3 at most. And it's like, okay, it's not like he's screwing the whole town. So I'm just saying, like, you'll see how serious he's taking you based on how much time he's giving you. And if he's not giving you the time, then it's like you cut it and move on.
Yeah, that's why you keep them in rotation so you can have somebody else to move.
No, not a backup plan. Not a backup plan. It's like,
baby, when your plan A keep failing you, you're gonna understand where I'm coming from.
Now, she tell this girl all girl's reply is oh my goodness. So yeah, anyway, I had
to accept.
Um, and foolish. Just
that she is gonna go like deal with can be really like repeated customers. Maybe once or twice, but it can be some girls like, I don't want you to go and have a girlfriend. It's like, if you want to fuck a girl, like, I don't care. I know a lot of people are like, well, sex is important and stuff. I get it. But I feel like a lot of men can just fucking keep it moving. For me to think that you're just gonna want to fuck me my whole life, the whole rest of your life, I think it's not really realistic. It's so hard with all we see. Like, I'm gonna see a dude and I'm gonna be like, damn, he fine. Not saying I want to go and fuck him, but I know for guys, it's a little different. You might see a girl and like, I would like to fuck her. But it's not gonna be like, you're gonna like her like that. It's really like, you want to fuck her. As long as you don't bring me diseases or babies or problems when the girls comes to me, I'm cool.
If a dude wanted an open relationship, what would he have to provide for you in order for you to accept?
The girl that she is gonna go like deal with can be really like repeated customers. Maybe once or twice, but it can be some girls like, I don't want you to go and have a girlfriend. It's like, if you want to fuck a girl, like, I don't care. I know a lot of people are like, well, sex is important and stuff. I get it. But I feel like a lot of men can just fucking keep it moving. For me to think that you're just gonna want to fuck me my whole life, the whole rest of your life, I think it's not really realistic. It's so hard with all we see. Like, I'm gonna see a dude and I'm gonna be like, damn, he fine. Not saying I want to go and fuck him, but I know for guys, it's a little different. You might see a girl and like, I would like to fuck her. But it's not gonna be like, you're gonna like her like that. It's really like, you want to fuck her. As long as you don't bring me diseases or babies or problems when the girls comes to me, I'm cool.
If a dude wanted an open relationship, what would he have to provide for you in order for you to accept?
The girl.
Now, this is a relationship person that went to. I don't did do it. Respect for me, he won't tell she's talking, being defeated. So along in her life, she convinced herself that foolish, and so she righteous men, because white men, at least, it's buffering. Oh, my audio is bad. Let me see. Let me go to. Testing, 1, 2. Okay, how do I sound now? Okay, how do I sound now? That's crazy. okay. Let me know if my sound. So said my audio is terrible. Is that again? Okay. I just rebooted it. It's not- I want to end this live right here, and I'll be back. Probably we gotta do a 3 day fast, so I'll probably be back on maybe back. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll be back either Thursday or Friday with this content. I think I was supposed to have like some kind of Bible study maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe Wednesday for the last day of the fast. But anyway, I love you all. Thank y'all so much, and I'll see y'all soon. All right. We're doing a word and water fast. A word and water fast. For 3 days, just the word and water. Um, thank you, Janine. I'll put a post up, um, sorry, I see my screen is glitching, so I'm gonna get off. Thank you so much, and it starts on Monday morning. So you get this message. Hopefully y'all can get it. Thank y'all so much.